and welcome to the part 3 of my voice experience videos. Today I'm going to be talking about the semi-finals. Now if you want to know how I got to this point, make sure you watch part 1, part 2. Sadly for me, this was the end of my journey. My semi-final was aired last night when I'm filming this, and do you know what? The response has been incredible. Like, to say that I feel loved and grateful for the support is like an understatement. So many people have reached out and followed me or messaged me or written a little comment, and those people, like, genuinely thank you so much, because you know, if you're not going to win a show like The Voice, the thing that you can try and get out of it is some people who, you know, want to kind of continue this journey with me, because I do believe that this is just the start for me, but I'll talk a bit more about that. Let's start from the battles then. So I did my battle, I got through, it was amazing, and just like any other round that we've had, it was go, go, go. You're straight on to the next round. There was quite a bit of background work with this round before we then actually kind of put something into practice. So I think because we'd gone from the battles where we were sharing the stage with someone, it became very much about the individual again, which was amazing. So the way that it started was The Voice recommended some songs to me and I had put a few songs forward. And I think in the end, The Voice sent me a finalised 24, which was mental, and that was on the Friday. And then I had a Zoom meeting on the Monday to discuss song choices where they wanted to hear all of those. The Monday came, I was on the Zoom with the vocal coach on The Voice, and straight away he said, "Oh, which ones are an instant no?" And I went, "Oh, I thought they wanted to hear all 24, I've like learnt them all." And he was like, "Oh no, they were just like an idea, like if you want to like cut a load, you can cut a load." So I was like, oh. I think in the end there was about 10 songs that I was like, yeah, I would be happy if any of these were my semi-final song. Once I'd finalised those with the vocal coach, I knew that I was going into then a meeting with like the music team at The Voice and a few of the producers and things like that. The vocal coach then dropped the bomb on me and he went, "Oh yeah, we haven't told you because we didn't want to make you dead nervous, but there'll also be some Universal Music representatives on the chat, and Anne-Marie will be on the chat." So I was like, okay. Like, I was not expecting this. Luckily, I had made myself presentables and my room was nice and tidy, so I was like, phew. And yeah, went on this chat, this Zoom chat, for about an hour and a half. Anne-Marie was in my bedroom, we were chatting over Zoom, and you know, I sang a few different songs. I think we had a slow version of like Whitney Houston, "I Wanna Dance With Somebody" was one of my suggestions. We had the song "Scars to You're Beautiful," which was also a high contender. We had the Grace Carter tune, which actually the Voice music team had put forward as a suggestion. And I think in the end, you know, me along with Anne-Marie and everyone else kind of felt very strongly about the Grace Carter one. It fit with what I wanted to say on the show and kind of my story so far. But nothing was decided. I was told then that I would find out where, you know, what you see on telly when I'm around the piano. So it was kind of like left it to her, but I had a strong feeling it was going to be the Grace Carter song. So I was preparing, you know, kind of like the top 3, top 5, thinking it could be any of them. Now, before I actually made the trip to London and met Anne-Marie again around the piano, we had a few calls as, you know, the last 6 within the team. We had group calls with a music lawyer, and it was at this point in the competition that we were spoken to about, you know, like the contracts that the winners can get. There was also contracts available for any of us, any of the semi-finalists and any of the finalists who within 30 days of leaving the show, Universal could approach us with a deal as well. So you might not even win, but yet still come out with a deal. Now, the winner's deal, if I'm being perfectly honest, I didn't think was amazing. I'm not saying it was dodgy. I mean, I'm not a music lawyer, although I have done music business at degree level as part of my course. You know, I thought, well, if I win, you know, there are clauses in there that can get me out of some things if I maybe don't like that, or, you know, there was still room for like creative control, and I was like, okay, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. You know, you hear these horror stories of like being on the X Factor, and it wasn't really like that. But obviously a lot of questions were asked. We had that time with our music lawyer to discuss the contracts. You also were going to be offered a management contract, so that was all discussed. So we'd had these kind of, as I say, various different background like Zoom chats, and then we headed to London for the day. And it was at this point that we started rehearsing at Elstree Studios. There's a picture of me here outside. They put us up in a hotel, which was really good. Hello, I am in a hotel room right near Elstree Studios in London. And today I'm filming again with Anne-Marie to find out what song I'm singing in the semi-final. And I've been told there is going to be a special guest with Anne-Marie as well. So who that will be, I've no idea. I've guessed either a member of Little Mix or like Ella Eyre, but I really don't know who she'll choose, so that'll be a nice surprise. At Elstree we went in, chatted briefly with Anne-Marie, although because of COVID we weren't really allowed to like get too close and interact, which was quite a shame. But obviously I'd seen her quite a lot by this point. She'd been in my bedroom for an hour and a half, and we did the piano routine. She told me my song. It was really nice to meet Leigh-Ann. We actually had a really deep conversation, the three of us, and so much of that doesn't get shown on telly. And I knew I'd be quite frustrated with how much they edited it this round, because I knew how important this song was to me. We actually had some really deep conversations around the piano. A lot came up about the whole feeling of, you know, the imposter syndrome, and the fact that the song was about heartbreak. And I spoke to them about an experience I'd been through. We chatted about the constant kind of rejection that you have in this industry, and the whole song is about being underestimated and someone not seeing your value. And we spoke massively about that, and the two of them kind of shared with me different things, and it was really deep, and I wondered whether they'd show any of it, and they really didn't. They kept it very surface level, and I get why, because there's so much limited time on telly. You know, I felt it was really important to share those things with Anne-Marie anyway. I hoped it would help her understand the sort of person I am. I really want my message throughout the whole of this was to try and get across kind of girl power, and the fact that as a female we should be represented more in the industry, be that as writers, producers, performers. And I wanted to do this song even though it's not very well known, and that was a worry of mine. You know, would it connect to the people at home, because they might not necessarily know it? But I went for it anyway, and I said to Anne-Marie, I think it's worth the risk, and I think she felt it was as well. So really pleased with that. Really lovely to meet Leigh-Ann. She was lovely. Again, I only was in a room with her for about 10-15 minutes. We did a couple of runs with the piano of the song, and at that point we decided to up the key. So this song was already difficult to sing, and Anne-Marie wanted to push me, and I wanted to push myself, and I was like, listen, if I'm going to go out at this point, I'm going to go out with a bang, and I'm going to give it everything. So we lifted the key, made that decision, but that was set in stone. And after that day, it was down to me to put all the rehearsal time in. Again, I had a few Zoom classes with the vocal coach on the show. And then the next step was they brought us back to London a few weeks after that. And this time we were in London for a week. We were all put up in the Hilton that was down the road from the studios, which I must say was very plush. This is me like showing people around my room. I was so excited on Instagram. I was like, look everyone, look where I'm staying. And during that time I went to the ITV Studios headquarters again, and here I had a choreo rehearsal. So this is where we decided that I was going to start on a stool, which point I'm going to stand up, I'm going to walk along the stage. All that sort of stuff was done at that choreo day. Then we had an on-set rehearsal day, and that was the first time that I tried the song with the band, and this was like 4 days before my set, and I was like, everything is so last minute in telly, so you kind of have to really just let that anxiety go, because otherwise it just like becomes overwhelming. Did a rehearsal with the band, Anne-Marie was there and she gave me some critique, and that was helpful. I had a styling opportunity on that day as well. Went through the rail just like the battles. There was a whole array of stuff that I was just like, oh, these clothes are amazing. And I ended up going for a suit that was from Nasty Gal, which I felt was very me, and I felt fitted with my message of coming out fighting, being a feisty woman, and kind of got the essence of the message of the song, which is like, don't flip and take no for an answer, and keep going when someone knocks you down, and prove to them why you're, you know, worthy of their time and their love and their effort. And then about 2 days before my semi-final, I went in for another rehearsal on stage, and this time it was a camera dress rehearsal. So this was things like, does your costume work on stage? Is the choreo working? Are you going to acknowledge one of the cameras at this point? And for them to kind of rehearse what was going to happen on the day. Here's a little snippet of my camera rehearsal. With it. It was at that point that hair and makeup told me what they wanted, again like 2 days before. So I was like, what if it's going to be a hairstyle I can't do? Because obviously they couldn't touch us or do hair and makeup because of COVID. This was the mood board they gave me of what they wanted. That was all fine, all good. On my way home from that camera rehearsal, I was literally in the Uber on the way back to the hotel, and I got a phone call from the producer. And originally I was up against Leona and the duo Wayne and Morgan, and they phoned me and they said, oh, we're just letting you know, we've had a little rejig and you're actually going to be in a semi-final now with Craig and the duo. And so I was like, oh, okay, thinking like, it's a bit weird, like, is that a thing? Like, to, you know, I'd done all my interviews saying that I was up against Leona and the duo, like, this is weird at last minute. And I was a bit rattled that night. I was a bit like, what's going on? Like, why have they changed this? I still don't know to this day why they changed it. It's odd. But that happened. I got the phone call, and obviously, like, in my mind, I always knew Craig was going to get through because he's just insanely talented. And I think at that point I was a bit like, oh, I could be going home here. Like, he's so good. But that happened. Because of that, I was changed filming sessions, and the time that my semi-final was changed because of that. So I rang my mum, I said, listen, like, I know you've got online tickets to see me in my semi-final, but it's changed. And so she was given an email address, she had to contact the company who issue the virtual audience tickets. And they were sadly told that there was no tickets left, that they couldn't rejig any tickets round for my mum and dad and my family to watch. So they couldn't watch. Here's some behind the scenes shots. It is currently the morning of the Voice semi-final. I've got my hot drink. It's currently, I got here at 8:30. I don't think I'm on till about 6 o'clock. So it's gonna be a very long day. So as you can see, we filmed in one of the most famous studios at Elstree called the George Lucas stage. It's not as glamorous as it appears on telly. We were all in this tent where we all got ready, as you can see here. And this was me in my outfit, all ready to go. I was so excited and I felt fabulous. I was really proud of The hair and makeup I'd done myself in that hotel room in the morning. It was such an early start as well. I think I was doing my makeup at like 6 a.m. and I had to be at the studios for 8:15. And then my actual semi-final filming didn't happen till about 8:30 in the evening. And you know, it was a case of sitting and hanging around all day, which isn't fun. And I think if you enter The Voice and you ever think that it's gonna be like just like super duper like entertaining and fun the whole time, it's not. There's a lot of hanging around. But it was really nice to have that time with the other contestants. We chatted within our like COVID boxes in the tent, and then it was go time, and this happened. It went so well. I'm so happy with how it aired. I'm happy with what was shown in the interviews. As I say, so much more was said in the interviews about, you know, all that personal stuff about my journey with being a woman in the industry and all that. None of that was shown. But what was shown I was happy with, and I was really happy with my performance. I thought under pressure I did really well. And then the verdict came and Craig won, as I suspected, and I am so genuinely thrilled for Craig. He is the loveliest person. He deserves it. He works so hard, and I'm made up for him. And sadly, I was sent home. It was really late when we finished. It was about 11 o'clock in the evening by the time we'd finished all filming. I got quite upset at the end of the programme, as you can see here.
There wasn't anything else I could do. I gave it everything, and I know this is the start of something incredible for me.
But as I say, I'm so happy, and I think those tears were sort of relief that I just knew. I think the thing of waiting that all day thinking, am I going to go through or am I not? You just want to know. You just want to know, like, is it a yes or is it a no? Like, just get me out of my misery. Like, I've done everything I can. And then I think when I found out it was a no, I was like, okay, that's cool. And I think months and months of pressure and being absolutely switched on all the time, and even the pressure of like absolutely making sure I cannot get COVID, because if I do, I'm out the competition. Like, I've been so highly strung for like 6 months that I think in that moment I just slightly broke, and I did get upset. And I went in this room with the producer, and bless her, like, she was so lovely, and she was talking me through it, and she was like, listen, like, we all have emotional reactions to something as big as this, and if yours means crying a bit, then that's fine. And I was like, yeah, no, but I didn't want it to come across like I had expected to get through. I didn't. I think so much of it was a pride thing. I think I was a bit embarrassed. I was like, oh, have I let people down at home? A pride thing within myself, that feeling disappointed in my ability and thinking, did I let myself down? And now I know I didn't. I'm so proud with how far I got. I mean, there was 44,000 applicants this year, and I got to Team Anne-Marie's top 6. Like, what an achievement. Like, I'm so proud. But in that moment, I was bruised slightly. And that night, I was offered to stay in London again for one more night, and I went, nah, I'm gonna drive home. And actually, I'm really glad I did, because it really took my mind off it, and to have that time with my sister and drive back together and just listen to some music and celebrate my time on the show, rather than going, oh, it could have been better. And I think in hindsight, this was such a good place for me to end my journey. I got as far as I could go, except for the final. Like, what an achievement. I have complete creative control over where I go from here. I'm hoping some opportunities will arise from this. I'm excited that you guys are going to stay with me on this journey. I want to release some music, and some music is coming soon, some original stuff. So keep your eyes open for that. And yeah, it was just dead exciting. I think the last thing I want to say is the only slight disappointment I had with the semi-final was I said a really amazing thank you speech on the stage. I thanked the crew. I spoke to kind of Ollie, Tom and Will about some of the stuff I'd been, I'd explored with Anne-Marie, the journey that I had been on as a contestant, and the growth and the realization of, I guess, like self-belief, and going, wow, okay, I actually must be quite good to get this far. I spoke about that with them and opened myself up a bit, and I thought they might show a bit of that on telly, and as it was, we didn't even get to say thank you. Like, they showed everyone else's, and I think because of time constraints, we just left the stage, and then we saw that little clip of me upset. But that, that's it. And do you know what? Am I thankful I've done this? Oh my gosh, so much. Like, it got me out the house. It got me so much experience. I met new friends. It was so much fun to work with the team. I was on one of like the biggest stages, you can get to in singing, and I'm so freaking proud. I'm so happy to have been a part of it. It is a TV show at the end of the day, and I went in with my eyes open, and I'm glad I did. And would I encourage people to do it? Yeah, for the sake of a bit of exposure and building your brand and learning about what you're about. When people ask you questions like, so what is the brand of Meg Birch? I was asked that a few times when I had conversations with the music lawyer. We had to send a document off to Universal, who were offering the prize at the end of the record deal. I had to send them a complete A4 piece of paper with what I want to achieve in the next 5 years, the sort of artist I am, my influences, and to really be forced to make those decisions and find that out about yourself was incredible. So yeah, it is the end of the road for me, but please know that I'm okay, I'm good, I'm stronger now. It's made me more hungry, and watch this space. Let's see where I am in a year's time. Flippin' heck, what a ride. Thank you so much again for all the support. Tons and tons and tons of love to you all. Love you. Until next time, in another video, I'll see you soon.